afternoon, and welcome into today's edition of the Burns and Gambo Show here on Arizona Sports, the local sports leader. My name is Dave Burns, alongside the one, the only, John Gambadoro. Hi, Gambo!
Burnsy, what's going on?
All right, Mitch.
What is going on?
You've piqued my curiosity. What color is Jimmy Butler's hair?
Orange.
Really? He's got orange hair?
Little highlights.
Little highlights of orange?
To the braids.
Okay, I was just,
yeah.
you when you said it in the update there, you intrigued me. I'm like, is it purple and orange?
Well, that's just somebody who knows his audience.
Does
let's
he have
be
a
real.
giant Suns logo embroidered into the side of his do?
Nothing that
Nothing like that,
extreme.
just orange hair, huh?
So an update on Jimmy Butler's hair so far this week. It has been blonde for going to the Warriors. It's been bright blue for going to the Mavs. It's been red for the Rockets. And today, it's orange.
He's literally changed his hair color every single day. Wow. That's fantastic.
Wow.
Look, we got a lot to get into with this Jimmy Butler story. It happened in the latter third of our show yesterday. So let's dive right in, because Gambo's got some stuff you're going to want to hear. Let's weigh in on our top story of the day here on the Burns and Gambo Show.
Burns and Gambo, the weigh-in. Brought to you by Revitalize Weight Loss.
All right, Gambo, let's pick your brain.
Okay. Where do you want to start?
In school, we were taught who, what, when, where, why, and how, right? Those are the basic tenets of any kind of story.
Okay.
Who, what, when, where, why, and how. We're not going to cover all of them, but we're going to get to as many as we can. The who in the situation here is Jimmy Butler and the Phoenix Suns. They are the who. Shams Charania today on First Take said strongly, I stand by my reporting.
1,000% stand by my reporting. It's fully vetted, and as a professional, that's what I do. That's what I get paid to do. That's what I'm going to do. Report truthfully and accurately. That's what this is.
We wondered about it yesterday. What you have been able to find out, it sounds like, is it's true. Jimmy Butler would like to come to the Phoenix Suns.
Shams Charania is not incorrect, despite what the agent says, despite what the Miami Heat may say. I always take a little bit of time, make sure I get stories correct, because I don't go out there with incorrect information. Jimmy Butler is absolutely interested in coming to the Phoenix Suns. If he were to be traded to the Miami Heat, the Phoenix Suns are very, very high on his list. Yes, Jimmy Butler, if he is going to get traded from Miami, is interested in the Phoenix Suns. I would go as far as to say that I believe this will be his number one choice, is to come play for the Phoenix Suns.
The other teams that were mentioned, and Lauren went through the hair color a second ago, it was the Warriors, it was the Mavs, and the Rockets. But you believe through your reporting that it would be his number one choice to come here if he's moved.
I believe that he is very interested in the Phoenix Suns, and that if he does get traded, yesterday I wouldn't rule it out. I said I can't rule it out. You got to give me time. I got to do some homework. I got to try to figure this stuff out. So I didn't rule it out. It's not like it's a 50-50 probability this is going to happen, but we'll get into that
We will.
as we
That's
move
one
on.
of my next questions here. While we continue with the who theme real quick, Jimmy Butler from yesterday was asked specifically about his name being in trade rumors, and he said, honestly, I don't mind it that much.
I actually like it. It's good to be talked about. I don't think there's a such thing as like bad publicity to a point. But somebody talk about me getting traded. That's a lot.
There's no such thing as bad press in Jimmy Butler's world. Just make sure you spell my name right, okay?
Right.
That's the who. Let's move on to the how. And how likely is this to happen? I mean, we spoke yesterday about the cap ramifications, the first apron, the second apron, how difficult it would be to get a deal done. How likely is something like this to happen?
So in making some calls and doing some homework on this, you can do a two-team trade between the Suns and Miami. Yesterday, we were under the belief that you probably have to include a third team, but you don't. I even talked to Bobby Marks yesterday for a little bit trying to figure this whole thing out. But all you have to do is Miami would just have to add a minimum player, basically any minimum player, to the deal, and you could make a trade work between the Phoenix Suns and the Miami Heat. So you would not need a third team to get a deal done. It would have to be Beal. It would have to be Beal. And then you are talking about adding another player from the Miami side of it. And then, I don't think that, now if you're the Phoenix Suns, now or Miami Heat, now you're asking for draft picks, and what else can you get? Right? What else can I get? If I'm going to give you Butler and this guy, and I'm going to take back Bradley Beal and that money, I've got to get something else. So there would, probably be some other compensation. If we get to that point,
And that's, I'm going to get to that in just a minute here.
Yeah.
I'm glad everybody's kind of staying with us here on the journey. And by the way, if it sounds like these questions are seeded a little bit, I have the answers to the test in front of me here. I
sent them to you.
I have the answers to the test here, so I'm guiding us through this in a way that I think makes the most sense for our audience out there to digest it. So none of what you're saying is a surprise to me. I just want our audience to know that in full disclosure.
You have the answers.
Okay, since you went there, I'm going to go there for a second.
Okay.
The 2031 first-round pick, if you have to sweeten the pot, is that the sweetener? Is that the stevia in the agreement?
No, I do not see the 2031 pick as an option to be traded by Phoenix in a potential Jimmy Butler deal if we get there.
Okay.
That pick would not be included. The Suns are holding on to that pick. They're not going to trade that pick for a player who's not going to be in the league by the time that pick comes around.
Okay, I suspect that's problematic, but
that's not going to happen.
I'm going to circle back to that, but I think I suspect that's problematic. This to me is the most interesting one of the whole bunch.
Okay.
When?
Okay, this is the biggest question.
I think this is the win.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think there's a bigger question which I'm building towards. I think this is the second biggest question. When?
Not now. The Phoenix Suns are 11-2 with Kevin Durant in the lineup and their guys. They're 11-2. They've struggled without Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant makes things easier for everybody else. The Phoenix Suns are very likely going to take the next 10 to 15 games to see who they are. Are you the team that was 11-2 if Durant and everybody stays healthy, or you're the team that's 1-9 without Durant, or you were somewhere in the middle? In the next 15 games, if the Suns get everybody healthy and they go 11-4, it's probably unlikely that they would explore a trade for Jimmy Butler. It's probably unlikely. If things mesh, they play well, things develop. I'm talking mid to late January. Give yourself 10, 15 games. You could count I haven't done this, but if you want to count how many games there are,
Mitch or Lauren, could you count how many games there are between now and, say, the middle of January? Pick a date, random MLK Day, somewhere around there. It's fine, whatever.
So now, if the Suns play the next 15 games and they're 8-7, I think then they start exploring, what do we have to do? The Suns are going to try to win this year. Now, again, in the next 15 games, are they 11-4? Are they 12-3? Are they 8-7? Are they 7-8? That will ultimately determine whether they would pursue that type of trade.
Okay.
So that trade is not going to be made now. It's not going to be made right now. It's going to be made after the Suns kind of figure out who they are. If the trade would happen at all, they'd have to figure out who they are.
Okay. I'm going to go back to one of the other questions, and I'm going to tack on a why to it. How does a deal like this get done? And most importantly, why on earth would the Miami Heat want to take back Bradley Beal and 3 years of a contract that's going to pay him $160 million when he is clearly not worth that money? Because that to me is I hear everything you're saying and it all sounds great.
Okay.
That to me, I said it yesterday, that to me is the dead end in the street. That's where I'm driving and I go, dead end, turn around, go somewhere else. Why would Miami want? I get everything else you're saying. Why would Miami want to do this?
They might not have a choice. Pitcher Jimmy Butler goes to the Miami Heat and says, I only want to get traded to Phoenix. It's what Beal did. It's what Durant did. It's what a lot of these guys do.
Why couldn't you just let his contract expire if he's not going to pick up the option and he walks in, he's a free agent? I mean, you wouldn't get anything for him, but do you want 3 years of Bradley Beal at that cost? That's a ridiculous cost.
After this year, there's 2 years left, right? 1 year and then an option year?
After this year, there's 2 years. Well, there's 3 years. There's 2 years and then a player option. So I believe after this year, there's
2 plus the player option.
2 plus the player option after this year,
I think Miami would have, first of all, Beal would have to waive his no trade clause, okay? And nobody knows for sure if he would or not, but just say he would. Just say he'd be willing to waive the no trade clause to go somewhere where he thinks he fits in better. Bradley Beal is still a good basketball player. He could still help them be competitive if that's what they want. And again, it's like Miami didn't have interest in him 2 years ago because there was 5 years left on the deal. So now you're taking 2 years off the deal.
And I stand corrected, by the way. It's 1 year plus the player option.
Right.
So it's 2 years in essence.
Right.
Yeah, 2 years at $110 million left on Bradley Beal's contract. If they didn't want him 15 months ago, I don't know if I understand why they would want him now.
$75 million is gone.
Yeah, I just
$75 million, you don't have to pay him.
you had me. You had me right up until right. I don't understand
I
what
get you. I
Pat
get it.
Riley's one of the best front office executives this league has ever seen. I just don't know if he's gonna a guy he didn't want 15 months ago. I don't know why that player is more desirable now to him.
Then you've got to desire the fact that you might get nothing out of Butler. Because what if Jimmy Butler goes to Miami Heat and says, I only want to play for Phoenix? What if he does that? Right? We're just looking ahead. Just say that happens.
Okay.
Say Phoenix is really his number one choice and he wants to go to Phoenix and he says,
Your only choice is then to lock yourself into a really bad Bradley Beal contract for the rest of his
well,
career. I mean,
what
that's
else
all.
could they do to sweeten the pot?
That's why I get back to the 2031 first-round draft pick and something else to make it better than that. That to me is why you might have to include that because I hear it. I really do. I hear what you're saying. That's why I did this in this order because I just think, man, all roads lead to this dead end of Bradley Beal's contract. I just don't know if they're going to want it or not.
Yeah, Miami would have to feel that Beal's still a good player and that he allows them to maintain being competitive. That's what they would have to feel. If they don't, then they could just say pound sand.
Go pound, yeah.
Go pound
they
sand,
could.
Jimmy.
Yeah,
you want to go to Phoenix?
You want to go to Phoenix? Tough. Opt out of your contract. Go as a free agent next year. Be a vet minimum guy.
You could sign for the vet minimum.
You want to go play for the Suns next year? Go play for the Suns as a vet minimum.
There's a lot more to dissect.
Thanks for watching Burns and Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.